Hi, I'm Julie McCluskie, Director of Communications and Community Engagement for Summit School District. And we're here today with a very special Summit School District Spotlight talking about parent engagements and programs that help our parents stay involved with their kids in their schools. And my special guest today is Tamara Drangstveit, who runs the FIRC here locally, the Family Intercultural Resource Center. She's the Executive Director. And we're excited to have her here to talk about some of the partnerships we are doing with families, with parents, to make sure that our kids are successful. So thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me, Julie.
Of course. Let's start first of all, for those in our community who don't know what FIRC is, what FIRC does. Let's talk a little bit about the organization first.
Sure. So FIRC stands for the Family and Intercultural Resource Center. We're a human services nonprofit. We've been here in Summit County for almost 25 years. Our mission really is very simple, and it's to help Summit County's working families be successful and sustainable in Summit County. As everyone knows, Summit County can be a really difficult place to raise a family. Obviously, it's very expensive. Yeah. In a lot of ways, our economy is still seasonal, and that can present a lot of challenges for parents and families. And so our mission at FIRC is really to help all families, regardless of income, regardless of race, regardless of where they came from, be as successful as possible as they start and continue raising their family here in Summit.
I love that, and thank you. Thank you for all that you're doing for our kids, for our families. And I really want to focus on the partnership that we've created, because at the end of the day, getting our parents involved with our students, helping parents understand their role in supporting our kids, helps student achievement. And that, at the end of the day, we want to see every kid be successful, every kid prepared and ready for college or career, and just being out in the world, right?
That's right.
So a couple of the partnerships between Summit School District and FIRC that have really started to produce some very positive results start at the very youngest of years. Let's talk a little bit about our Kinder Ready program and how that is helping those first-time learners get off on the right foot in Summit schools.
Sure. So all the research shows that parents that are involved with their kids' education, that are comfortable going into their kids' school, are more likely to be successful. They're less likely to adopt risky behaviors. They're more likely to graduate from high school. There's even research that shows that parents who are engaged in their kids' education have children who are more likely to own a home many years down the road. So we do believe that regardless of the age of your child, parents should be involved as much as they are comfortable and can with their kids' schools, and we at the FIRC try to make that as easy as possible. The Kinder Ready program is a really fun opportunity, I think. And the goal of Kinder Ready is just to help parents understand what that transition between preschool, or if in fact the child hasn't attended preschool, what that transition into kindergarten is really going to be like, to make some connections with your child's teacher so that you might be comfortable if something does come up down the road, and then just learn some last-minute activities that you can work on with your child over the summer before kindergarten starts to make sure that your child is successful as possible. Things like basic counting skills, or some, obviously everybody should make sure that they're reading with their kiddo at every opportunity. Things like making sure that the child knows their colors, all those really fundamental learning skills that they'll need as they go on through their education.
That's awesome. In Summit School District, we spend a great deal of time. If we have the kids there in preschool and then in that first year, kindergarten, really helping kids learn not only the basics of the academic world, but how to get along with other kids, and some of that social emotional learning that happens in those first few years really sets a stage for how those children will be successful in the years ahead. I think what's really valuable for us is that you provide a connection with families who you've been working with since those kids were born. And the idea that FIRC can serve the needs of all families in our school district, again, regardless of background, but provide additional resources, help in maybe parent education, parent active listening, active parenting skills, ways that we can help our parents be more successful with their kids is really valuable. For those parents of kids that are older, how does parent education fall into the mission of FIRC?
We've really tried to create a continuum for parents. Obviously, the age of your child, parenting can look and feel very different. And so, certainly we do start with home visitation prenatally in a lot of cases. But we also recognize that when a child starts kindergarten, it doesn't mean that our role as parents is finished. In fact, it means that our role as parents looks very different. And so we try and offer, many of our collaborations with the school district are really designed to help parents of school-age children, but we also offer the fundamentals, basic parenting classes, how you talk about difficult topics like marijuana, particularly in this era of legalized marijuana. What do you do if your child appears to be depressed, and who do you get in touch with? All of those things that you might need or you might not need, but you certainly want to be prepared for. Those are the kinds of things we help make sure that parents have, because we really value our teachers and we absolutely value our partnership with the school district, but we do recognize that it is a lot for our teachers to try and do everything. And so if we can provide a little extra help to parents so that teachers don't feel like they have to do it all, that's what we're here for.
I appreciate that. We have, I think, for as long as I've been in Summit Schools, and that's more than 10 years, we have been helping to host and partner in our Dialogue Over Dinner evenings, where FIRC helps us by providing childcare and dinner. We partner on the educational topics that we're going to share with parents. And you mentioned marijuana. We have certainly talked about substance use and abuse over the years and how to help kids stay safe when those topics, those issues arise for them in the middle school, teenage years. And then we've started some other discussions as well, how to keep kids safe when it comes to the digital world, right? Cyber safety. We've worked with families and parents on how to have difficult conversations with your kids, on topics like sex education or, something that just maybe mom or dad never knew anything about. And I think those dialogues over dinner, for as many years as we've been doing them, have really been of value to the community. And again, so grateful. Tell us a little bit about a program that really evolved out of Dialogue Over Dinner called Conexiones.
Right. So Conexiones was a program we started in conjunction with Principal Rivera when he was at the middle school. The idea was that sometimes it can be really difficult, particularly for English language learners, to understand sort of how the American school system works, and not to be afraid to ask questions or to get the information they needed. And so Conexiones, the idea was that the school district would actually do the home visits with parents, and that FIRC would just sort of be along to help add additional resources when that was necessary, but that we would also follow up those home visits with a particular set of classes to help parents really understand things like how you check PowerSchool for your kids' grades, for example, or how do you create a really positive learning environment and a safe space for homework at home, or what do you do when you think that there's a challenge with your child and you need to talk to an official at the school district? Who do you contact and how do you go about that? So those are the kinds of skills that we offered through our Conexiones classes, and that program grew because of the outcomes, because we knew it had an impact for our families and also for the kids in the school. We grew that program into the elementary schools. And so now, this year, working with the school district, we're so excited that every incoming kindergarten student in the district got a visit from school district staff, along with a FIRC staff person. And what we heard from parents was that it is an incredibly positive way for parents to begin to meet staff in the school, to meet their kindergarten teacher, to talk about any hopes, dreams, or challenges that they might anticipate in the upcoming kindergarten year. And I think having that kind of foundation for a child when they start kindergarten really does set up for success for their entire academic career.
Well, and I will tell you, because we hear it at all grade levels, that every parent wishes they had that kind of home visit connection with their student's teacher, right? It does give the teacher an opportunity to see understand things about the student they might not otherwise in a classroom setting. Getting to find out what a student's favorite football team is, or just talk about their hobbies, their interests, whatever it might be. Having that just a friendly, comfortable, trusting relationship, and starting it in a place that's very safe for the student.
Exactly.
It is, I think, important to mention, Tamara, this was our first year to do it.
That's right.
For all 240 kindergartners, it was a lot.
It was a learning experience for all of us.
It was, and I anticipate that as we continue with that program, we'll continue to do it better and better, and make sure that our families understand the purpose, why we are conducting home visits in the first place, why it is so important to us to make those connections, but to do it in such a way that our families feel comfortable and understand that ultimately we want to see that child succeed in school, and we want to make sure that we're doing that in a way that makes sense for them as well.
Absolutely.
I think one of the other great programs, and I have not participated in it myself, but I wish that when my kids were preschool, they would have. And that's the Cooking Matters classes, the classes where we teach preschoolers with their parents about healthy eating. Can you talk a little bit about that?
You know, it's interesting. FIRC had never really offered any kind of health or nutrition programming until the recession. And coming out of the recession, we noticed that a lot of our families, while their incomes were improving, there were still a lot of stressors that we hadn't seen in our families before the recession started. And one of those was really just not having any positive outlets for some of that stress, but also looking for opportunities to really spend quality family time together. So we found a curriculum called Cooking Matters. It's a 6-week program. It's a program that parents can take with their young children.
I love it.
And it's really an introduction to the basics of cooking. It's a lot about healthy nutrition. How do you read a nutrition label so that your child learns? It's a lot about, if you are shopping on a budget, how do you do so in a healthy manner for your family? And it's a really good opportunity to meet other families and also just to spend some time with your kids. And so we offer that class in a variety of different settings. We've certainly offered them in partnership with a number of the elementary schools. They're always really well attended. It's not a lot of time. It's 1 or 2 hours a week for 6 weeks. And people walk away from it with some really quantifiable skills, which they also appreciate, right? We are all looking for ways to make the dollar stretch farther, and that's certainly one of the goals for this class.
That's great. And I love that it's moms and dads, right? It doesn't matter who's in the kitchen. We can all improve our understanding of what's healthy and what's not.
That's right. And, safe ways to use a knife, all those good fundamental skills you need in life.
Yes. So maybe last on our list, as far as helping our parents and helping our students succeed in school, has to do with health, right? We partner with our community care clinic in our school-based health centers, where we are providing on-site primary, dental, and behavioral health care. We have found that partnership is extremely successful because we know healthy kids learn better. And we know when they can get help, whether it be from their physician or their dentist or a mental health therapist, the kids are there at school, they're able to take care of their medical needs, return to the classroom, and it's just a much more productive environment for our kids. We, as local partners, have also worked on the Children's Health Insurance Program, CHIP, or CHP Plus here in Colorado.
That's right.
And that program provides health insurance for some of our kids with the greatest needs. Can you talk a little bit about CHP Plus, what it is, and how that's helping kids stay healthy?
Sure. So certainly access to healthcare is another one of those really important student and indicators of success.
Yes.
And when the FIRC began doing enrollment in health insurance 7 years ago now, we actually started with the CHIP program because there was such a high number of children in Summit County that didn't have access to health insurance, largely because, as I'm sure we all know, health insurance is incredibly expensive in Summit County and unfortunately continues to be. CHIP is available to children, for example, if your child qualifies for free and reduced lunch, they will also qualify for CHIP or CHP Plus. And so we've worked for many years now with the school district to try and make sure that as many children as possible who qualify for that program are also enrolled in the program. It's great health insurance, it's very comprehensive, and it's incredibly affordable. Unfortunately, as I'm sure you've heard in the news, Julie, the federal government hasn't yet refunded the CHIP programs across the country. And so what that means is the 500 or so children who are currently enrolled in CHP Plus in Colorado likely will lose coverage at the end of January. I am still optimistic that our government will find a way to make sure that this doesn't happen. But if it does happen, it's really important that parents whose children are on CHP really starting in the middle of January, take the time to investigate what other options are out there. If CHIP is defunded in the state of Colorado, that will create what's called a special enrollment period.
Okay.
And that means for those children who do lose their insurance, they'll be able to enroll in the marketplace and will likely qualify for tax credits, which will make a private plan more affordable for that child. At the FIRC, we're obviously watching the situation very closely, and if it looks like the funding is going to discontinue, we'll offer 3 special what we call open enrollment events, where you can just walk into one of our offices, either Breck or Silverthorne, and meet with a counselor to help you discuss and understand what your options are for your child. We're looking at January 16th, January 25th, and January 31st for those events. Also on our website, which is www.summitfirc.org, we have a lot of information about the CHIP program, what will happen if it ends, all those kinds of things that parents should be thinking about as they select another plan for their child. And we'll continue to post updates as we understand it.
So helpful. And our community care clinic, again, our school-based health centers will have information as well. Our school nurses are also a resource. And, you know, we know healthy, happy, safe kids thrive in a school environment. And all of this work, helping our parents be successful at home, helping our kids be successful in school, means that we're raising kids who can be productive citizens here in Summit County, across Colorado, and the nation and beyond.
That's right.
We know how important it is to their success. Anything else that you'd like to throw out for the day, Tamara, for the month, for the rest of the year? Anything people should know about FIRC?
Well, I do just want to take a moment to, Julie, I know you're a trustee of the Summit Foundation, but I always like to take a moment to call out the work of the Summit Foundation, because without their help, so many of these programs, like Dialogue Over Dinner and Conexiones, simply wouldn't be possible in our community. And so we're always grateful to all of our partners, the school district, the care clinic, but in particular, during this season especially, the Summit Foundation.
I appreciate that. You know, we do have so many partners, including our parents, who are helping our schools succeed. So thank you for that reminder that it takes a village. It
does take a village.
It is. It's much more than just a few of us. It takes everyone to make this work. Thank you for your time today, Tamara. We so appreciate your tuning in today to our Summit School District Spotlight. For more information about Summit Schools, please visit our website, give us a call, or drop by one of the many happy learning places here in Summit County. We appreciate your support and partnership in helping our kids succeed.